you look around the league, there's a lot of teams, in the hunt. We're in the hunt. You sit here and you say, hey, Thanksgiving, and close to the end of November, and we're in the hunt. When you sit around that table tomorrow, you're saying we're in the hunt. And there's a lot of teams that wish they were in the hunt. Well, we're in the hunt.
When I was 8 years old, my brother Donnie asked me if I wanted to play hide and seek, and I said yes. And he said, okay, jump on the couch. And I jumped on the couch, and he had the couch bed folded out, and he folded me back inside the couch and put the cushions on and left. So now I'm afraid of tight spaces. But let's talk about like sports fears, like your fear with the Bills, because that's really, really scary stuff. So scarier than traumatization, maybe. I don't know. It's the fear episode. That's the first thing I can think of. We got a special guest for the fear episode. First timer, Del. Have you ever been on our podcast before, Del Reid?
I have not. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to break the seal today.
Yeah. Co-founder of Bills Mafia, 26 shirts. What else am I forgetting? General good guy.
I've been called worse. So yeah, family man.
Stupid piece of garbage.
Good head of hair.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Best head of already best hair on the pod. I mean, Greg's isn't bad, but I mean it's
yeah. Well, Sean and I go right to hair. Almost immediately. I don't even see other people's faces till like the third time we meet.
My back is not good.
Yeah, Greg's garbage.
I got it. I do not win
forever.
But I'd kill for Greg's hair.
Oh my god. Yeah. I'd pay serious money.
Look at that little swoosh.
That's like a Superman curl. You got a Superman curl going right there.
He does.
They're hot.
It's because I offer nothing, so I have to look like
My fear is how attracted I'm getting to Greg.
So what we do with this episode, Del, and people listening is we talk about the thing we're afraid about going into the Bill season. That, of course, is Kyle Turner and Sean Murphy. They were not yet introduced in case this is the first time listening to the podcast. We talk about the fear going into the season. And it seems to me, and I'll let you speak for yourself, like this one's going to be obvious, right? Like maybe not just general, they won't make the playoffs or something like that. But like, is the Diggs Josh thing is that what everyone's answer is going to be? It's not mine, but
no, it's not mine. Nope.
Okay.
Well, then we're up.
I thought you were going to say obvious. I think there is an obvious one, but I think well, let's let Del go first. Maybe he'll rip the Band-Aid off, because I think there is one a big one going into this year.
Awesome. Well, thanks for giving me the floor here again. Thanks for having me on. I'm gonna feel really dumb now if what I suggest is like, oh yeah, we had no, that's not obvious. No. So mine's the play calling. I mean, they relied so heavily on Josh Allen and the deep throws last season to the point where it was just like you just knew there was no balance in the offensive play calling. It just seemed like the whole back half of the season was based on, well, Josh will figure it out. Just snap the ball and Josh will figure it out. And so that's my biggest concern, is that is Dorsey able to evolve? Is the offense able to evolve into something where it's, Josh Allen is obviously the focal point of the offense, but can the cast around him do more? Are they willing to use more run plays? Are they going to involve more of the receiving threats? So that's my thing, is I really want to see Dorsey put on the big boy pants and, just call games that aren't so dependent upon his, freak talent at quarterback.
I thought that was going to be the big one, especially now he's got a shiny new tight end, so you could run, more different personnel. He's got an upgraded offensive line, more receiver depth. There's not really, unless crazy injuries happen, there's not really an excuse. This is year 2. You've had, have a year to kind of figure out everything. And, if he doesn't quite figure it out, I think there's going to be a lot of angry Bills fans in the early fall.
I'll tell you why that's also my biggest fear. I have more, don't worry. But it's my biggest fear, because I've said this before for years, and people know I don't know what I'm talking about. I just want to make that clear if someone's just listening. I think good coaches are good from the beginning, and they make small tweaks to their game along the way. I don't think a coach goes from bad to good. We saw it here with almost within the past 10 years with both franchises. The Sabres went from Ralph Kruger to Don Granato, and they instantly got better. That was a good coach from a terrible coach. We saw it with the Bills go from Rex Ryan to Sean McDermott, a terrible coach to a good coach. I don't think those bad coaches, I don't think they get much better. I think you're good. If you're good, I think you can get a little better by making tweaks to your game. But I don't think a bad coach all of a sudden just learns how to coach. So Ken Dorsey stinks, and he'll stink forever. So,
but here's the pushback. We scored the third most points.
I don't care about stats.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Don't throw stats at me. There's a reason you can't throw stats at me, because we wouldn't be talking about it right now if we just went off stats. We knew what we saw last year. It's not a lie.
Okay,
but that's it.
But I would say he's good and could get a little better. If we go from third to first, that's a little better.
I mean, the stats were good, but how much of those, as Dell said, propped up by just having a super freak, Rick James, at quarterback, where you're like, dude, legitimately, could I have called plays and ended up in the top 15 with Josh Allen at quarterback?
I'll answer that right now. No.
I think I could have.
No, you couldn't have.
He couldn't scheme guys open. I can't scheme guys open, but I could sure as hell just pick a play and tell us, go, hey, run it. And then if it doesn't work, you just make it work, because that's what happens. So how come you couldn't do that?
The problem is, like, I don't believe, I'm not eye test guy. And Dell, hopefully you've learned not to argue with Kyle. Just wait until he stops talking and change the subject. The problem, I'm not eye test guy. The problem is watching Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the world, maybe of all time, have no one around him for 15 yards and wondering why, I know Dawson Knox isn't as good as Travis Kelce, but can he, can we get him 5 yards separation, 3 yards separation, any separation when one, why is it that Kansas City is so damn good? We want Andy Reid, or maybe Bieniemy, but Andy Reid.
Real quick, this is 2023. Before you say something that's inflammatory or get somebody riled up, you're supposed to issue a trigger warning. So just hearing that the Kelce, I haven't thought about how wide open Travis Kelce always is for a few months, and it's been great. So thanks for reigniting.
Well, we want to get you back in seriously, mid-season form. I
get so frustrated. You watching. You're right though, because he's schemed open, and you'll see him. Dude, he's an all-world tight end, like you said, Greg. The maybe the greatest to play the position in the conversation, at least. And it feels like when you're watching the game, I don't know, maybe you guys should cover that guy. He's kind of good. Maybe you should pay attention to him. So yeah. So sorry to jump in there, but
you have free reign to jump in whenever you want. This is your podcast. People are sick of us. The numbers have proven it. No, we're not stats guys. The numbers have proven it. So.
Well, Greg, do you want to do
I want you to do it, because I think mine is I'm like the Andy Warhol of Bills podcasting. So I want to zag after you guys are all done zigging.
Okay.
So you trust me, it'll pay off.
Okay. I'll go next, because I know Kyle has 20 fears, so it's not going to be a problem if I steal one of his. I think, Dorsey probably up there for number one, but here's a stealth one. Does McDermott put too much on his plate being the DC and the head coach? Because if Dorsey doesn't cut it, he could be fired mid-season. But McDermott is here for the long run. So if the defense was a little more Frazier than everyone wants to admit, when does that change happen? Does it happen? Or do we just deal with that new normal?
That's interesting. I find it hard to believe. I know I don't want to simplify coaching, but I feel like most of that work is done before the season, installing the defense, making any changes, which is an interesting conversation. How many changes do you make? Because Leslie Frazier could coach against the Bills, and if it's the same defense, you wonder how that works. But most of the in-game stuff, I think you just know it at that point when you're that far into it, and the players know it at that point. So I'm not as worried about that one.
Yeah, and there is like, as back to Kyle's rant, he has steadily improved as a head coach, so that's good. They promoted Eric Washington to assistant head coach. That all helps, but it's just like I worry that if there's problems, I don't know how it gets fixed.
I think it's a warranted fear, although I wouldn't be afraid, Sean.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's said before, a head coach is pretty much just like the rah-rah guy, making sure everyone's in line. There's other people that can do that. That's all I'm saying. He's not.
But then how come they can go from Rex Ryan to Sean McDermott and be bad? Was Rex Ryan just that bad? Was he telling people, hey, you're garbage, you suck? Right before they go on the
I think he was. Rex Ryan was ordering food in third quarters of games. Didn't even know what was happening. Sean McDermott, I'm not saying Sean McDermott's a better rah-rah guy and better at keeping people within the confines of his structured organization.
Okay.
Rex Ryan, it was, you know what I mean? You're like, Rex Ryan's team was a zoo with no cages. And he'd go, yeah, just go in there, do what you want. McDermott's like, we got the monkeys, we got the snakes, the zebras are over here, caterpillars, butterfly, everything's where it should be.
The big four, caterpillars. You go to a zoo, you're like, I gotta see them gorillas. I gotta see the caterpillars.
Yeah.
Del, what do you think about this worry? Anything? Do I got anything, or do you think, like Kyle and Greg, bit overblown, nothing to worry about?
Well, it's tough to say because we just don't know how much of the defense was. Where did Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier begin?
Mm-hmm.
And so I get nervous just in terms of anytime a head coach is doing play calling duties. Andy Reid is obviously, he's done an okay job with it, but still, anytime like the rah-rah is being diminished from having to actually like think about, what a specific side of the ball is doing, is always maybe kind of nervous. So at this point, I think that, Sean McDermott has maybe like earned the trust from fans, at least, especially with the defense. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this extra safety with Rapp, because I feel like that's going to change the look of the defense a little bit. But that's going off on a tangent there, but I think it's
tangents are allowed. That is super interesting.
So. Yeah. So I think that it's the fact that they didn't replace
Edmonds.
Tremaine Edmonds. He's gone. I forgot his name already. The fact that
he's actually still following Travis Kelce around just 10 yards behind somewhere.
Yeah. But the fact that they didn't replace him with any player that was similar, he's kind of a unicorn a little bit in terms of got a real kaiju vibe going. But just I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I guess that's the answer to all these fears, right? Wait and see.
Right.
But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of validity to it.
Okay. All right. I could do that. Greg, can you go now, or should you?
I can go. I could have gone then, but so I will tell you that I really, in terms of the Bills, the football team, I don't have any fears.
I knew this was coming. This was your fear last year.
So my only fear is that the fan base
Greg just reread his notes.
The fan base is going to just implode. Like, it's going to go nuts, and there's going to be just a bunch of internet fighting over really nothing. I'm always just afraid that the fan base is just going to be too loud and annoy the hell out of me. Because I think
you're afraid of the norm.
Yeah, I'm afraid of every single day of my life for the last 20-something years. No, I don't think that there's anything to worry about with this football team. And you can't just say they're going to win a playoff game, but I can say they're going to make the playoffs. I think that that's pretty much something you can write in pen. And after that, you just got to hope that they're healthy and rolling by the end of the season. You got to hope one of their friends doesn't die in the field. I keep saying it. And that Josh Allen's elbow doesn't get hurt. And then you got nothing to be afraid of.
And I said this last year, but I think this was true then. It's true now. I think this is the best Bills team of my life. I think they're better than last year.
Well, they did. One of our think fears was last year, and Del, I know you listened to the episode, so you can agree. One of our fears last year was the offensive line. Like they did not do anything to the offensive line. Like that's one of the reasons I'm pretty confident this year. Is like you take the same team that scored all of those points and won 13 games, and like a couple of the losses are so fluky. Like the Minnesota game, the Miami Heat game. Like if I had to play football today, I'd keel over and die. You know, those are two of the losses. They could have been a 15-win team. You give me all of that, lose Tremaine Edmonds, but gain like an actual offensive line. And you know, how spoiled are you to be afraid of anything? Like not you guys in particular, like you know, just the general fan basedness, you know.
I can't wait now. I'm so glad you went third because I know Kyle's is going to be like, the backup linebacker is shit, and we need to talk about it. So that's a great segue into Kyle's sphere.
I have a good one.
Okay,
I hope it's
spiders.
If spiders run out of the field.
My biggest fear, one of them, is that car is going to hit somebody. Did you hear that beeping? Is we're all just pretending that Von Miller is a 34-year-old D-end is going to come back from an ACL because he's different. You know, like I get it.
This is a good one.
The man is one of the best defensive ends, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. But at what point are we like, it's okay to worry that a 34-year-old defensive end will come back and be good still. And if he's not, I know he has an out in his contract after the next 2 years, but that's a lot of money on the books for the next 2 years. If he goes down to above average, like you signed him to be great, and he was great for those 8 or 10 games or whatever it was. But if you're paying a guy $18 million a year, and all of a sudden he's 34-year-old defensive end coming off an ACL tear, and then he's a 35-year-old defensive end, and they're 36. That's a lot of money coming off the books for a guy.
And to your point, look at how long it took Trey to get right. I mean, he started to look better by the playoffs, but like it was a full year.
Yeah. And then, I mean, not to mention, I've been saying this, everyone's been saying this, but like, who is going to step up? Rousseau showed really good promise, but like how many first, second round picks have not lived up to the hype? And so, you know, I don't know. That's a side fear attached to the Von Miller fear of Von Miller's age and ACL is going to catch up with him. And I'm nervous that the fans are just being like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. It might not be fine. That's what I'm saying.
I hate this episode.
That's a good one. I wasn't expecting that, but that hit me. Good job.
I did my research yesterday. I found out that he tore his ACL.
Adele, what do you think about that one?
First of all, I want to address what Greg said. So thanks for inviting me on your shame podcast. Like I'm saying, like, what am I afraid of? I got to think of this. He's like, guess what? I don't have one. Oh,
yeah,
jerk. To fit in. No, I think that's a completely valid concern. The Bills also did sign Leonard Floyd, Poona Ford. I feel like I'm forgetting another defensive lineman. Obviously, that's not specifically Von Miller, future Hall of Famer, but I feel like they put a lot of work into line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. But for the defense, I think it's a valid concern. But I think I'll worry about that when it's time to worry about it. If that makes sense. Like I'm not expecting him to be there week one. I mean, I know he's shooting for it, but I mean he injured his ACL on that 30-plus-year-old body in November of last year. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, and I do think this team is so good that like if you have Rousseau and Floyd, with Boogie and AJ as a backup, like that could get you to the playoffs. And as long as I have Von Miller by the playoffs healthy, it kind of ready to go, that's really all I care about.
And honestly, maybe that's the best scenario, is that he does take his time. He does, really rehab that body. And instead of trying to get there for week 1 against the Jets in September, I'd rather have him 100% in the playoff push, or that first playoff game, um, as close to 100% as possible. Because if Greg's right, if it is written in pen, then let's save some of that talent as much as possible for the games that really matter.
You said 34 years old, and it made me think of this, going back to the other scary thing. I'll take Von Miller doesn't come back Von Miller if Travis Kelce also shows that he's 34 years old, because they're the same age. Like, when do his knees start to like buckle a little bit? I'm not hoping for injury. That's not a good fan thing to do, but maybe a little wear and tear, maybe a little
slowing down.
Maybe a little osteoporosis kicks in there for the elderly Travis Kelce.
I have a good secondary fear here that, like, injury luck's a big thing every year going in. We were kind of hit by the injury bug last year, I would say. And, we haven't talked about this yet, but Josh Allen, cover of Madden. I did some research on this. CBS Sports did a ranking. They said roughly 60% of the players on the cover since '99 have had bad things happen to them, but only 3 in the last 10 years. So if there is or was a curse, if you believe in that sort of thing, it seems like it's been dying down regardless.
I also, that curse, although I do believe in it,
you seem
or
like
did, I think Patrick Mahomes broke it, but one of the bad things was, like, Eddie George was on the cover, and then like the next year they were like, he only rushed for 1,000 yards, and then he fumbled in the playoffs. I'm like, that's not the Madden thing.
Yeah,
Madden is breaking something and being done for the year, not just a slightly down year.
Yeah,
I don't believe in curses. I don't think that the cover of a video game has the power to control the universe.
Well, neither do I, Greg, but I wanted to bring it up because I know Kyle does.
I'm just offering my input in case. I don't want it represented that everyone on this podcast believes in curses. I was afraid of that. It's the fear episode. We have to talk about what we're not afraid of too. I don't believe that video games can curse people.
How are you doing with tight spaces these days,
Greg? Now, goats can curse people, as of course the Cubs know, but not video game covers. So. Tight spaces. I have a dream at least once a month, maybe not that frequently, maybe 10 times a year, that I am in, it's usually kind of like a submarine or a ship, and I have to get from one section to the other in a life or death situation. And in order to do so, I have to crawl through a space that's at like the size of my leg, and I just have to push through and do it in order to live. And it's, and I'm afraid to go in that space. And the space is not like 2 feet wide, it's like 10 feet. So I have to crawl through a pipe the size of my head, 10 feet, in order to get to the place, in order to live. And that's the traumatization that happens when you're the youngest of 7 children. Wow. Which is why I'm not afraid of video game covers.
That's true. That's the benefit. So you're not going to go down there and see the Titanic on those little submarines? That's
no. Like I was telling, so we were talking about that when it happened, and my wife Tracy and I, and she's always my wife Del, if you don't know, and I know you know because you listen all the time. She doesn't consume social media. She doesn't really watch TV. She's always like gardening. Like she's like this human being that doesn't like need to exist with modern communication things. So
but you married an Amish woman.
Yeah, she's very good at making furniture and honey. And she breeds labradoodles.
So often we're recording the podcast, and I'm like, Greg, tell Tracy to stop churning butter next to you. It's so loud.
Yeah, that's right. It's got to churn it up. But she'll go to work, and someone will bring up something. She'll ask me about it. She's like, "Oh, you hear about this show Survivor?" She'll bring stuff up.
Did you see the finale of Lost?
That's right. Who's Jack? Was it all a dream? She'll bring stuff up like a week later on, things that are going on, and she's like, "Oh, can you believe this submarine thing?" And I was like, I heard about it. I will tell you that right now my mind is playing a cartoon and I cannot think about it. Like I know what's happening, and I know it's terrible and weird and crazy and interesting, but please don't talk about it, because then I'll start to think about, like, you're in that sub and you just found out something's wrong. Now it turned out it imploded and they died without knowing that they died. But all I can think of is, like, the button to go up isn't working and you're in there and you're like, they need to come get us. And I would just start, I don't know what I would do. Like, I would lose my mind. I would claw through whatever the sub was made of, tinfoil, whatever the sub was made of, to get out of there. So, because I don't do well.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this one time, while we're talking about this for your episode, one time in my New York City apartment, I got stuck in the bathroom, the door locked, and the bathroom is like, it's like it's smaller than a Buffalo bathroom, and I had to, it was made of such chintzy material that I was able to punch through the door and open it up. But I'm not a tight spaces guy, and that got to me. I would have lost my mind.
I get claustrophobic very easy. Now, I was never stuffed in a couch.
Yeah.
But
yes.
That's true.
I'll do that.
It is on my
tomorrow,
bucket
Kyle.
list. Could you
They have that
deathbed?
at the fair next to I Got It.
Could
It's
you-
stuck in
could
a
you-
couch.
Could you imagine that? I'm on my deathbed. I'm 86. They're like, "Do you have any last wishes?" I'm like, "Can someone stuff me in a couch?"
I
Let's get the rest of the doctors.
I think that should be the wake. As we take your mind, stuff it in a couch.
I'm in a couch.
We leave his head out like the cushion so we can tell he's in there. Everyone stops in front of the couch to pay their last respects.
People crying like he looks so good.
He hardly looks dead. Oh my goodness.
So compressed.
Yes.
But-
That'd be a good way to die.
Well, before we get into trivia, do we have any last fears? I feel like Kyle might have some.
I have a
extra
question for Dell,
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
but it's nothing to do about the Bills.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay. So,
How
Dell,
do you
out of
grow
the-
that hair?
What product do you use,
Yeah.
Del?
what genie did you go to, and where can I find them? We I don't know if Sean told you, but we all do comedy. We're usually better on stage than we are on this podcast, so don't judge us on this. So a lot of comics like to talk about how they come up with jokes, right? But obviously you do shirts. What's the creative process of coming up with a shirt idea? Is it with other people? Or are you sitting alone? Your wife's trying to talk to you and you're like, not now, I need to think of a James Cook shirt.
I guess all of the above. The early days, a lot of it was me, but I'm out of ideas now. I'm pretty much out of all the shirt ideas I'm gonna come up with. So
That's not good for a guy owning a shirt company, but
it sure isn't. No, but I have a really great team, really creative. Even everybody from the creative director down to our inventory manager, all very creative people with great ideas. And it's really, at this point now, it's a collaborative process. Like, one person will have an idea, and another person will chime in like with a little bit of a twist to make it better, and then a third person says, "But then let's call it this." It's a real collaborative process these days. And then now and then, like an artist, like a freelance artist, as we try to work with as many freelancers as we can, an email will just show up in my inbox on like a Monday morning with a fully fleshed out idea and Illustrator file, and it's ready to go. And it's like, we did it again. So
what in your history of shirt building, what's the one, if there is one, that you're like, that one was my favorite one?
Maybe one that
man.
he did, because it's unfair, like other people. I mean, he can answer how he wants to answer.
Yeah.
But I imagine
I did say
Del
Dell
seems like a
before
nice
I
guy.
asked the question.
Yeah, Del's a nice guy, so he's not gonna like say a shirt that and then everyone that's ever, not that anyone ever listens to this podcast, but like someone who created a shirt, you don't pick that one. That would be
I
tough.
do want to be clear. We have some listeners. We're just making this sound
Yeah,
like
but not like good people.
we're the only ones watching.
My favorite, I don't know. I really do. It is tough because we've done so many now over the years, and I'll say something, and then by the end of this podcast, I'll be like, no, I want to change my answer to this. We've done a lot of like comic book driven designs. That's if you couldn't tell from like behind, like I'm a bit of a nerd. So we did one a few years ago. It was called Symbiote, and it was a bison that looked like it was taken over by Venom. And so that one was really cool. It's a real it was a really intricate design. Our Josh, our creative director, did a really awesome job with it, and he did it like in a day, which is insane to me. How I could draw a stick figure, and I was like, wait, I want to tweak it. It'd take me like 3 hours to get it right. But,
So you really like Josh
yeah.
Allen's Bills logo, because that was more stick figure. Like that was more.
Well, I can relate to it better. I can
Yeah.
relate to it more so. But
Yeah.
so a lot of the design, we've done a lot of like Marvel and DC based design. So anyone from that like cache that we've done, I think would probably be so. It's a little bit of a better answer than I love them all, right?
Yeah.
But
The new one you got out, and Del, you're going to tell us where to, like, I'm sure everyone listening has connected with you on social media and knows where you are. Just in case, give them the website or whatever. The newest one is the Circle the Wagons one. I think that's the one that just came out today. It was a wagon. What was it called? Wagon what?
But just Buffalo Wagons, I think.
Buffalo Wagons. That was it. So I added the circle part though. I'm not sure who designed that one, but it reminds me of the Bandits logo a little bit. I'm not sure if there's like any ties to that, but when you look in the eyes, I can see the Bandits behind it. That's a very cool shape. I like that one.
Yeah, so that one, a freelance artist came up with the idea of creating a team called the Buffalo Wagons, almost like a multimedia project. Like, what if the Bills inspired a minor league team? What would that be like? And so we started playing with it, and then Josh, our creative director, was like, this is a cool idea, but it needs a mascot. And so he spent a lot of time drawing it, coming up with some kind of angry wagon, because how like those minor league teams often they're like the Savannah Bananas or whatever, these weird mascots. And this is, I think, the third revision, because the first two, if you looked at them at the right angle and you squinted your eyes, they just look naughty for their own reasons.
That's the shirt Kyle wants.
Yeah, right. I was like, and actually, it was one of our other employees noticed it, and I was like, yeah, we can't do that, because now I can't not see that reference.
I get it.
Yeah. So it's just a fun take on, and I think my tweet about it, I said it could also be like, if the fans weren't called the Mafia, what might else they be called? So like somewhere in the multiverse, maybe the Bills fans of the Wagons. I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, so we were hoping that it would do really well, and if it did, we would release some more stuff, maybe a hat and different things. But we'll see where it lands.
As Greg said, I'm sure most Bills fans know, 26 shirts and whatnot. But why don't you give a quick little synopsis on where people can go to support?
Yeah, thanks. 26shirts.com. We're on all of the different social media platforms. I can't say that now because there's like 15 as opposed to like 3. But
are you on Threads? Are you on?
So 26 shirts. You can just look for us on your favorite social media platform, and we'll probably be there soon if we're not there yet, because your favorite one maybe just came out today. I don't know, but yeah, and then 26shirts.com. And in terms of a synopsis, we release different limited edition Buffalo themed T-shirts that support families in need. And it used to be one shirt every 2 weeks, and now it's like 2 or 3 a week, because I guess we're just too obsessed with it. But
that's a great thing, though.
It's a great place to spend your money. But if you have a lot of money and you already bought all the shirts, where else could you spend your money? That's right, our Patreon. Before trivia, we always read a blurb from our number one Patreon, Scott Dennis, and he did not send one in time, but he has a de facto one, which is that he is saying goodbye to being our number one Patreon member. Del, we have one person as part of our Patreon who gives us the most money, and they're our Joe B. Because we all, specifically Kyle, loves Joe B. At the Athletics. So there's always one spot in our Patreon. It's usually not available, and it is now. So Scott Dennis, we thank you for your service, patronage. And if you want to be our new Joe B for this upcoming season, it's available. Go get it, and and even if not, go to patreon.com/inthehunt. to get another tier. You know, we've done like 70 bonus episodes at this point, including our favorite, where we just did 3 episodes ranking the coaches by hotness. So if that sounds if that sounds like good content to you, you're gonna want to dive into it.
Kel, I'm glad you reacted that way, because if you didn't, I knew you weren't paying attention. You were
Because and that might have been the episodes we fought the most during. There's a lot of intense disagreements.
I need to know who the hottest was and who the least hot was. So I'll look that up after.
Least
after
is easy. You can get there. Least is easy.
We could tell least. We'll tell you least for sure. Bill Belichick was our least.
And we completely we all emotion out of it.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with him coaching the Patriots.
Yeah.
Purely,
I've seen the man. You don't have to justify it. I've seen the man. It's all good. I get it. You don't have to defend it.
And we'll say we could give it away, because I think the you know, the journey is what people want to listen to the most. But we had our number 1 hottest coach, which we felt a little bad. We felt we could have did better. Our hottest coach was Sean McVay.
I was gonna guess that. I was gonna say, can I guess? I was gonna say either Sean McVay or maybe like Zach Taylor, like those, you know. Okay.
Zach Taylor was up there. We in retrospect, I think we almost all kind of agreed we wanted it to be LaFleur. If I'm right about that. No,
Greg had LaFleur at like
17. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Go. Greg's an insane person. We can't go back to this. All right, we can't go back to.
Dell's got to get out of here.
Yeah. He's not gonna.
I'm not gonna lie though, like I never thought about this, and now I'm finding myself like obsessing over how good looking all the NFL coaches are.
Yeah, well, get your recording. It actually is super funny. Like, we do not mess around. Like, I did more work for this than I did on any college paper I ever did in my entire life. So it's interesting, to say the least.
Did you graduate?
Yes, I did.
I'll tell you,
it's a radio degree, so there was really not.
According to this episode, he graduated from Dan Campbell University because he went hard for Dan Campbell. Okay, now to the trivia questions. I have 3 to 4 questions. We always give away a fake jersey, so the winner of this game gets a nice Duke Johnson jersey. I'll send you a nice Duke Johnson jersey. It's what everyone wants for summer. Question number 1. These are all questions about Bills players on Cameo. I did a little research into the Bills players on Cameo. So question number 1, Del, we'll start with you. There are 49 Buffalo Bills on Cameo. Which of the following current players is not on Cameo? Which of the following 4 players is not on Cameo? Is it Matt Barkley, Gregory Rousseau, Dane Jackson, or Dawson Knox? One of those 4 players is not on Cameo. Who do you think it is?
Gregory Rousseau.
Okay, going in Greg Rousseau. Let's go to Kyle next.
Who's the first name?
Matt Barkley, Rousseau, Dane Jackson, or Dawson Knox?
All right. Barkley's for sure on it. It seems like it screams Barkley. Rousseau is young enough to be savvy enough to sign up for Cameo and make more money. Dane Jackson, who's signing up for a Dane Jackson Cameo? I'm going Dane Jackson because I think his agent would talk him out of it.
Okay, Greg, what do you say?
I don't like how confident Del was. It tells me he knows, but I'm going to go against what he said. I'm going to say Dawson Knox. I feel like he just would think that was stupid. Don't know anything about the dude. I just see him like, I'd see his agent being like, they're in a room, there's 12 people. Okay, today we got this, and Cameo, we're going to sign you for Cameo. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, that's just a feeling I have about him. So,
okay, well, point goes to Kyle.
Woo!
No Dane Jackson. Just in case you want to get, anyone in your life a nice present, Rousseau and Barkley go for $100 each, and Dawson Knox $199.
Oh boy!
Oh, so Knox was all about it. He's like, I'm going to double up. So, wow.
He's into it. So, question number 2. Let's start with Greg here. Greg, which Bills player charges the most money? Is it A, Bruce Smith? Is it B, Jim Kelly?
Well, we're talking all time.
Yeah,
Bills.
yeah.
There's 49 all-time Bills, not
Yes.
49 on the current. That's
Yes,
I
correct.
thought it was 49
Okay.
on the current roster. I was like, the majority of the team.
Yeah. Well, who charges the most money? Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Terrell Owens, or Doug Flutie? All four are on Cameo, but which one charges the most money? Smith, Kelly, Owens, or Flutie?
This is tough. I was going first, right?
Yeah, you're gonna go first.
Hearing Flutie and just how he is, like that's the gut reaction. But I'm gonna say, and it's actually because I think he'd get it. I think I'm gonna play the market and say it's Owens. I think Owens is the biggest name there, and therefore he's asking the most because he knows he can get it. So Terrell Owens.
Okay, you're gonna go Owens. Let's go to Dell next. What do you think?
I would say because of the so little amount of social media stuff that he does, I would say Bruce Smith wants as little to do with his smartphone as possible. So I'm gonna guess Bruce Smith.
Okay. Kyle.
That's Greg and I are literally on the same wavelength. I go, Doug Flutie wants to charge $10,000 for Cameo, and he would never get it. And Owens, I mean, it's Owens for sure. It's got to be Owens. He's a wide receiver.
Well, Dell gets the point.
Oh my God.
It is Bruce Smith, and it was great logic on his part too. So actually, Doug Flutie comes in at the bottom of these people, 225. You have Terrell Owens with 350, Jim Kelly 379, and Bruce Smith 425.
And I think you're right, Del. I think he just charges that much so fewer people do it, so he doesn't have to talk into his phone.
Yeah, smart reason.
Good on him.
Let's start with Kyle for question 3. There is a fourth question if necessary here. Which of the following Bills person charges the least? Is it Greg Williams? Is it Harrison Phillips? Is it Don Beebe or Stevie Johnson? Which one of those 4 charges the least?
Dude. Greg Williams.
We gotta get to Kyle and Greg Williams.
Okay. Greg Williams is a psychopath, so I can't imagine him being low. Who is after Greg Williams?
Harrison Phillips.
That's who I think it is.
Okay.
Harrison Phillips is very much all about the fans and charity. I'd be surprised if he was charging more than $10. I think he would do it for free.
Okay, you're going Harrison Phillips. Dell, we'll go to you next. What do you think?
Who is it? Who's after Don Beebe?
Stevie Johnson.
Stevie's a man of the people, but I'm gonna go with Don Beebe.
Okay, going Don Beebe. Greg.
And this is charging the least, right?
Charging the least.
It's not Beebe. He had a speed camp. The dude, he markets. Don Beebe wants to make a little coin. Okay. Stevie Johnson, maybe. Harrison Phillips, I can see him charging less to like make himself more accessible. Greg Williams, Jesus, there's no way he even knows. Like every Greg Williams cameo has to be him being like, "What? For what?"
Facing the other way.
For me. This is Greg Williams. Good luck. Hey, can you wish happy birthday to my 8-year-old daughter Marla? And then the cameo comes and it's Greg Williams. What? Huh? For what? Oh, this is Greg Williams. Good luck. And like that's doesn't matter. It's just him doing the same one for every single one angrily. So I'm gonna say it's Harrison Phillips.
Okay.
I need a win here.
Well, Dell gets it,
Get
and of
out
course,
of town.
Dell.
Get off my podcast, you jerk.
Dell wins the Duke Johnson jersey, as our guests normally do. I'll tell you for this last question, Don Beebe was the correct answer. Don Beebe, $25. Stevie Johnson, $26.
Oh my God.
And then Greg Williams and Harrison Phillips, $50.
Harrison, come on.
Who's paying $50 for the Greg Williams cameo?
We're about to. I know that. We got some Patreon money coming.
I'm gonna give one to Kyle for Christmas. Harrison Phillips for a while did it for charity. I saw. I didn't see a charity thing on there currently when I looked it up. Cornelius Bennett was the only bill currently that it all goes to charity. And then let's see, the only other cheaper Bills players were people that played for like a season. It was like Vosian Joseph and Eli Harold, the people like I barely even remember who these people are. And they had like cameos for like $10, $15, stuff like that. And a thing that made me laugh out loud while I was looking at Cameo is Sal Capaccio charges more than Don Beebe and Stevie Johnson for a cameo.
$27.
He charges $40. And that made me laugh.
Good on him. Good on him. He's got a young family. He can't be pulled away from it. It's got to be worth his time.
That's true.
I have
his cameos also are 27 minutes long.
I think we need your help on this too, Del. We buy a Greg Williams cameo, and the very first shot of him in the cameo, we make a t-shirt. So the very first image that pops up, yes, where he's waiting that 1 second where he knows it's recording before his wife or whatever gives him the go, and he's like, that's the t-shirt.
Can we capture it though? This is Greg Williams. Good luck.
Yeah.
And it's that picture you're talking about, kind of cartoonized, but it's on the cover of a paper towel roll, like a Bounty paper towel, like Bounty, like the Bounty joke, like do that just to make them mad.
See, it's not hard, guys. It's not hard. The t-shirt thing is not difficult.
Whoever want t-shirt ideas, you come to us.
Yeah, I'm almost mad we didn't spend more time just pitching him shirt ideas. I mean, we have to have something from our podcast.
Anyone that is a patron of our podcast and got a t-shirt would be like, yeah, these guys suck at t-shirt ideas because the t-shirt we came up with sucked bad. So.
But in a fun way.
In a fun way. Yes, in a fun way, of course.
Well,
it was supposed to suck.
That's been our episode. Del, thanks for joining us. We want to send everyone to 26shirts.com. Go get shirts. Support.
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah.
One of 4.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Good.
I had to get the I Am Greg one. Like that was like a instant see it and purchase it one for Rousseau. But yeah.
Or you.
It is funny how many times we'll have somebody's name on a shirt. Like we did a Scott Norwood shirt way back in the day. Said we want Scott. It was kind of like an homage to the parade, and or some player's name on there. And then we'll get like a slew of orders, like just from Scott Jones, Scott Smith, Scott.
Work for me. Yeah.
So we just need to make name shirts for people.
Yeah.
Make the one that says Kyle like the worst shirt ever. Make the design just like a dog pooing on a lawn.
Well, we did one with Kyle Williams, and there was no dog pooing on it, but it was there's a lot of people that were buying it whose name was Kyle. It was kind of funny. So
yeah, makes sense. Then Sean can never get one because no one would ever spell Sean that way.
Oh, how dare you?
That was mean.
How dare you? Well, yeah, that's our episode. Go get a shirt. Go sign up for the Patreon. We'll be back to weekly episodes in a month when the preseason starts. Greg's already excited about it. He can't wait. And thank you for listening. Thanks again, Del, for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Del. Sweeto.
Sean jumping in here with 2 plugs we forgot to mention. I'm headlining Helium Comedy Club in Buffalo Wednesday, July 26th. Please come out to that. Kyle and Greg might be there hanging out too. That's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of Kyle, he is working with, for my money, the best comic alive, Dave Attell, July 7th and 8th at Helium. So come to one of those shows if you want. If not, who gives a shit? But come, say hello. It'll be a good time. And that's it. Here's the song. Thanks. Sweeto.
There once was a team in the NFL, and the name of the team was the Buffalo Bills. The kick sailed right, and the fans did grow. No, no, Buffalo, no. Soon may the Allen man come to throw to Beasley and Diggs and run. One day when the playoffs are done, we'll have won that Super Bowl. A ship once led by Marv Levy, with a Bennett and a Thurman and a Jim Kelly. The ship sailed true o'er 1,000 days, never won that Super Bowl. Soon may the Allen man come to throw to Beasley and Diggs and run. One day when the season is done, we'll have won that Super Bowl. Turn of the century come and gone, last these Bills tread the playoff road. 18 years of sorrow and dread fell o'er Buffalo. Soon may May the Allen man come to throw to Beasley and Diggs and run. One day when the season is done, we'll have won that Super Bowl. A light shone dim in 17, Taylor McDermott and Brandon Bean. Bills fought hard but needed help, throw, Dalton, throw. Oh, now the Dalton man comes to throw to Boyd on 4th and long. 18 years of playoff drought, fled from Buffalo. 7th in the draft, McBean, Cedar man, plucked from Wyoming to Josh Allen. 2 years later, a stud named Diggs lands in Buffalo. Hey, now the Allen man comes to throw to Beasley and Diggs and run. One day when the season is done, we'll have won that Super Bowl. The future has come with records laid low. High are the hopes of your Buffalo. On a wing and a prayer, our voices soar. Let's go Buffalo. Hey, now the Allen man comes to throw to Beasley and Diggs and run. One day when the playoffs are done, we'll have won that Super Bowl.